So here's a problem. A lot of times in kind of tight spaces like this, that's actually the laundry room behind there. Now, one, we need to have a wide enough door for a washer and dryer to go in, so it's got to be a pretty big door. But in this instance, if it swung in, it'd be in the way and hit stuff. They chose to swing it out, but when it swings out, it swings across and hits this jamb right there. This really doesn't work very well. So if we had lots of wall space, a barn style door would be a good solution, maybe even a new construction, a pocket door. But you know, there's always challenges with pocket doors. For instance, if that slid back in there, we couldn't have any electric boxes or anything back in there. We couldn't have any plumbing. So that's kind of why barn style doors became popular. But in this instance, there's no room either way for a barn style door to swing or slide. But my good friends at Custom Service Hardware, CSH, came up with a solution for that that kind of combines the beauty, the look, and the function of a barn style door, but in a place where you don't have any room for one. Now, still lots of room through here, but nothing's being blocked. So there's a few machining steps we have to do to prep the doors. The first thing I did is I went ahead and beveled this door a little bit away from what's going to be the face, and now I'm needing to mortise these hinges in. I've actually already put one in down there, and I generally just come 10 inches up from the bottom and 10 down from the top. You just get a pair of hinges. And there is one thing, if you carefully look at these hinges, they've got a square edge and a little bit of a bevel, and what that is, you only mortise them as deep as that square edge, and the amount of that little bit of bevel gives you a natural space in between the doors when you put them together. So, and again, this jig is just simply, it's notched out the amount that I want to route out. If you've watched any of my videos before, you've seen me use this white side pattern bit, and I'm just going to tack it in place, the jig in place, with a couple 18 gauge, or excuse me, 21 gauge. Again, the depth that I set this way determines how deep the hinge is going to be, so I've got it set just to go up to that where that bevel starts on the hinge. We'll wiggle these nails and break them off real quick. I've got to square out the corner with the chisel, because that 1/2 inch bit always gives me a 1/4 inch radius, and these particular hinges are square cornered. It was trying to get cockeyed a little bit. It's really important to have it shoved back so that the edge of the hinge lines up with the edge of the door. Probably better not to use that pocket screw on the hinge. Well, there it is again. There's one that's the right color and size. All right, so wiggle those, loosen them up a little bit. Now what I want to do is put the other door next to it, mark the exact location for these, and I'll just route hinges on the other door. Actually, first I want to bevel the edge of the other door, and I'm just beveling the edges that have the hinges on them, not the secondary edge, because there's no closing against the door jamb with this door. So this plate is what fits on the floor, and this brass bushing goes into a hole in the bottom of the door like so. Then the door never actually rides down the bottom. It's going to sit about like that, and it rides on the track on the top. But this is what guides the door. And just a kind of a word to the wise, I used a Forstner bit to drill this hole, but I drilled a test hole in a piece of scrap wood to make sure that this was actually the right size bit to drill this hole. So we've got the hinges on it, we've got this drilled in the bottom, so now we're ready to go back inside. We're going to trim the opening and then mount the track, and we'll put the pivot pieces on the top, the carriers, the rollers on the top. So there's several measurements that I want to make sure that you kind of have the general guideline of where those came from and what we did. First of all, the hole that we drilled in the bottom of the door, from the edge of the door down, I drilled it about 13/16 to the center of the hole. So again, that center of that hole, that's the pivot hole, is about 13/16, back in from the edge of the door. Here is our pivot point, and by the way, we've got some spacers here that we put on it. That's to hold it up while we find. That's how we knew that we could put where we could put the track at the top. But the distance for us, the doors that we have are going to overlap the hole about 2 inches on each side. So when I drilled that hole 13/16 or so down, that meant that the back edge of the door is just about going to line up with this plate. So when we mounted that plate, it's about 2 inches back from the edge of the door. In other words, the back edge of that plate is going to show you about where the door is, and we want it to be about 2 inches back. The distance out this way, you can take, this is the standoffs that the track mounts on. And if you take the standoff, now I don't want to put it on the plinth block, if I put it right here, that should be not quite, the center of the track is going to be mounted to this. So basically I want to figure it to where the center of the track is centered on this pin right here. So you can take this and you can kind of figure where this, this plate needs to be. In other words, it's probably this distance out plus about a strong 1/16 or an 1/8. In other words, this is going against our wooden header right here. So from there plus about a 1/16 or to an 1/8 is where the center line of this pin needs to be. And again, the back edge of the pin needs to be however much your door is going to overlap the hole. If you have a door that's going to overlap it more, then you just keep moving it back. But anyway, that's how we found all those. And again, this spacer is what's going to we put there to allow us to know when we set the door on where we need to set the height of our rail. So just a few measurements that I hope I did a good job explaining, just some things you need to think about. So we're getting super close to being going ahead and ready to actually install the rail. So I've got the track in place, and what it amounts to, you've got these spacers that go behind, and then a long lag bolt with a washer that comes through from this side, and that keeps it out the distance it needs to be. So it worked out really well for us for these, the spacers sit right down on the lip of our little trim detail there, and that piece was level. So when we stuck it in there, I just put the level on top of it, and it reads perfectly well, as close to level as you're ever going to get. So you do want to check that. Now for these two, because they're kind of towards the end of my board, I drilled a pilot hole, and I've just got a nut driver that goes in the impact. But for this middle one, I'm just going to go on through there. So now we've got the track in place, it's level, we've got it at the height that we needed it to be. And we determined, we shared having found that height by sitting some spacers on our pivot point now at the bottom. Now the one thing that I didn't say is, when I mounted the top plate on the door, I knew that pivot point down there was about, it's about 1 1/8 inches from the end of that plate, and I just made sure that the pivot point of that bracket that sits on top of the door was the same amount. In other words, just think about, the pivot where that top is going to pivot needs to be the same distance from the edge of the door as that. All right, so I believe what we're going to have to do, I don't think it'll slide up on there without me backing that out. So I'm going to go grab the Allen wrench, take that loose, and we'll be ready to set it in place. And I hope this is going to work. So I used some wood shims under the door to lift it up enough to where this bracket, the pin that's on top of the door, could slide in the bracket. But right now, the bottom is fixed because it's sitting on the pin, but this is going like so. The next thing we need to do, this bracket slides up. Actually, we'll have to come from behind, slides up on the track, and I have to reach up in there and tighten these down. This hole receives, there's a pin right here, so when I get that close to where I want it, I'll tighten that up, and then I just take a level. What I got to do is just kind of get it towards tight, but not so tight I can't move it, and then finish leveling it up. But at any rate, this actually slides in from behind. We'll have to reach up in there, tighten those screws, and then we'll fine tune it to get it to where this door is plumb. So we added the hinges to put the two doors back together, and then we added this roller. I just tightened up the little pin that makes it to where that roller can't come out. And that is the last thing we needed to do to make it to where this door works. Again, the reason we wanted to do this is because the swinging door came way across this opening. Now, still lots of room through here, but nothing's being blocked. Now, there are a couple things. I always like to be as truthful as I possibly can. A couple things that in this situation I might have done differently, probably should have done differently. The first one is the track, I believe, comes as a 3-foot track, but we had to cut it down because this was, I think this is this a 2/8 door? Can't even remember now. Yeah, this is a 2/8 door, so we had to cut some off one end. Well, what happened was, if you remember, there's a little clip that locks on the track that makes that roller stationary. And what happened was, this bolt location was right next to where that clip needed to be. So what I would have done the second time, because we could have reversed this, and that would have put this bolt back over here somewhere. Actually, we could probably put the bolting where we wanted to, but you might kind of want to think through that, because you want to be able to adjust this that clip that clamps to the track. You want to be able to adjust it back and forth to get this plumbed up. Then also, what I probably would have done, again, and I said we're not totally done, we need to add a handle down here, but the other thing I probably would have gone ahead and did, we left this 1/4 inch reveal up here. probably would have been better off to have just dropped this header down, maybe and give ourselves a little bit of a reverse reveal. Again, it somewhat depends on how much the floor height is and everything, but probably to guarantee success, the best thing to do is, instead of leaving this header reveal like this, would be to go ahead and drop it down, maybe even give yourself a little bit of reverse reveal. That way the door sits a little harder on that pivot pin at the bottom. But still, had a few things we did, but all in all, this is an amazing project. And the best thing is, we have taken care of something that's been bothering the homeowner for years.